A single mother was mopping the floor in a luxury hotel when a white sea threw her tip into the trash. Years later, when they met again, the single mother made him go scrub the toilets, 6 a.m. at the Blue Sea Crown Hotel in Marindi, the capital of Tangaray. The place was still wrapped in the quiet of dawn. The marble floors in the hallway gleamed under the dim light, like a smudged mirror reflecting the blurry outline of the crystal chandelier above. The air carried a faint scent of rose essential oil, part of the hotel's so-called 5-star aroma system. In the middle of all this luxury, a small, thin woman was bent over, mopping the floor. Her name was Marindu, 32 years old, wearing a faded blue uniform, a rusty bucket at her feet. She moved carefully, making sure the mop didn't splash water onto the edges of the carpet. Mara was one of the housekeepers for the third floor. She had just finished mopping the hallway outside the presidential suite, beads of sweat forming on her forehead. Last night, a storm had knocked out power for 2 hours, and when the hotel's generator kicked in, the whole building shook. She'd really slept, worried about her daughter Amina alone in their tin-roofed shack. Now, she just wanted to finish up and get Amina to school before her morning shift. Then, ding, the elevator doors slid open. Out stepped a tall white man in a sharp gray suit, his tie perfectly knotted, shoes polished so bright they could have been mirrors. James C. A. Reuter, British, the hotel's newly appointed straight from the London headquarters. Rumor had it his salary was triple what all the hotel staff combined made in a year. He glanced down the hallway, his eyes landing on Mara. She immediately lowered her head, gripping the mop tighter. James walked over, reached into his suit jacket, and pulled out a coin, a 20-shilling piece, worth about 20 cents. With a flick of his wrist, clink, it dropped into Mara's bucket. Mara froze. This wasn't a tip. Tips were handed over properly, slipped into a pocket with respect. This was something else, charity, or worse, mockery. Before she could react, James turned and walked to a green trash bin a few steps away. He reached in, pulled out a black beige bag, untied it, and rummaged through coffee grounds and tissues until he found the coin, now smudged with dirt. Right in front of Mara, he placed it back in his palm, then tossed it into the trash again. He sealed the bag and said coldly, "We don't take tips. Only salaries." Then he adjusted his cufflinks and strode off to his office without another glance. Mara stood there, rooted to the spot. Her fingers clenched the mop handle so hard her knuckles turned white. The water in the bucket trembled slightly, reflecting her pale face. The coin sat at the bottom like a burning ember, scorching her pride. She'd been mistreated before: police in the slums demanding protection money, vendors stealing her market spot, nurses at the hospital yelling, "No money, get out." But this was different. It wasn't shouting or theft. It was a quiet, elegant humiliation, the kind that cut deeper than any insult. She read into the bucket, the ripples making the world seem unsteady. Last night, Amina had held up her math test, eyes shining. "Mama, I got 98. Teacher says I'm first in class." She'd kissed her daughter's cheek, but her ERT had been heavy. Next term's school fees had gone up, and her wages wouldn't even cover half. She thought of her husband. 3 years ago, he'd fallen from scaffolding at a construction site. At the hospital, they'd told her, "Wait 3 days for a bed." By then, he was gone. She'd held 3-year-old Amina outside the morgue, crying all night. Since then, she'd been a single mother, leaving her village to become a city cleaner. She used to be a schoolteacher back home, fluent in Swahili and English, teaching kids to sing Ubuntu song. But the city didn't need village teachers. It needed invisible people who woke at 4 a.m., scrubbed floors on their knees, and never complained or raised their heads. James's hand, tossing that coin, had sliced open the last shred of dignity she had left. She crouched down, wringing out the mop. Water dripped onto the floor like TRSSTA ring at the puddle. She whispered, "One day, you'll be the one on your knees." No one heard her. But the security camera in the corner caught every word. Half an hour later, Mara walked into the staff break room. The other cleaners huddled together, murmuring. "You hear about the new British, acts like he owns the place. Yesterday, he threw a coffee cup because the front desk girl was too slow. He stays in the presidential suite, changes the sheets 3 times a day, says local laundry isn't clean enough." Mara sat quietly, pulling a plastic lunchbox from her bag, half a cornmeal cake, some boiled beans. Breakfast for her and Amina. Then the supervisor walked in, holding a stack of papers. New rule, floor shine inspection. Fail, and your pay gets cut. The room erupted. Shine inspection, we're not polishing mirrors. Who came up with this? The supervisor glanced at the papers. From the CS office. He wants every floor to reflect like glass. Mayra chewed her corncake, silent. She knew this was meant for her. She remembered her grandmother's words, anger is fire, child. It can CK your food or burn your house down. You must Leah RN to control it. But today, the fire was too strong. At lunch, she slipped out to a payphone NEA or the hotel's back entrance to call Amina. The signal was bad, cutting in and out. Mama, I finished homework. Good girl. Cold there, a little roof leaks. It's okay mamas. Payday by plastic sheet. The call dropped. Mara clutched the receiver, standing there a long time. Walking back, she passed a floor-to-ceiling window. Sunlight spilled in, lighting up the floor, and her shadow stretched long across the marble, like a crack in the perfect surface. She remembered her grandmother taking her to ancestral ceremonies. The village elder had said, the eyes of our ancestors live in the earth. When you kneel, they hear you. When you stand, they see you. Right now, was she kneeling? Or standing? She returned to the third floor, mopping her rider, pressing all her frustration, anger, and helplessness into the cracks between the tiles. Near the end of her shift, she passed the presidential suite. The door was Aya. James was on the phone, voice loud. Tanga Ra Backway Road, lazy, inefficient. I want Standa RDS, not local customs. The cleaners their labor, not culture. Mara stopped, her mop Nearly slipping from her hands. James hung up, turned, and saw her. He frowned. What are you doing here? Just cleaning the hall, sir. Know your place. The floor isn't a stage. She nodded, backing away. That night, Mara dragged herself back to Kibra slum. Rain dripped through the tin roof. Amina curled up under an old blanket. A bowl of cold porridge sat on the table. Mara hugged her daughter. Mama's home. Amina looked up, eyes bright. Mama, were you happy today? Mara smiled, TRS threatening to fall. Yes. Because today. Mama cleaned very well. She took out her diary, writing by the dim light of a kerosene lamp. March 12. He threw a coin, then threw it in the trash. He thought it was garbage. But I know it was a seed. Outside, the slum wind ride the smell of wet earth. In the distance, the city lights glittered like cold, stars. Mara closed the notebook and whispered again, one day, you'll be the one on your knees. This time, her voice was soft but firm. Like a promise. Like the beginning of a storm. The rain root again. In Kibra slum, the tin roofs rattled like broken drums under the downpour. Water seeped through the cracks in the walls, forming little streams on the dirt floor. Mara quickly moved Amina's school bag to a higher spot and covered their only kerosene lamp with a plastic sheet. Outside, the clogged drainage ditches overflowed, sending filthy water and garbage swirling through the alleys, filling the air with a rotting stench. This was Tangara's rainy season, the hottest time in the slums. No sewers, no electricity, no clean water. People trudged through the mud, children ran food in the filth, and mothers crouched in doorways, wiping their kids' feet with dirty rags. Mara sat on the edge of the bed, gently massaging Amina's calves. Her daughter's feet were cracked from walking foot in the mud to school. The sight made her heart. Mama, does it hurt? Amina looked up. No, Mama's hands have magic, Mara said, forcing a smile even as her eyes burned. She thought of James at the hotel, know your place. In that moment, she had wanted to scream, my place is as a mother. A teacher. A human being. But she couldn't. If she lost this job, Amina would have to drop out of school, scavenge for scraps, maybe even be right off at 15 for a dowry. She couldn't break. Amina pulled a paper from her bag. Mama, look. A report. CA Road Math, 98. Swahili, 95. Science, 92. First in her class. Mara's chest tightened. She hugged her daughter, voice trembling.
My Amina so smart. Teacher says I can go to the national high school. Amina's eyes sparkled. Then I can be an engineer. Build bridges, roads, houses that don't leak. Mayare laughed, but TRS rolled down her cheeks. She knew the national school's fees 80,000 shillings a year. Her monthly wage 25,000. Even if she sta reved, it wouldn't be enough. She stroked Amina's hair. Yes. Mama will make sure you go. But in her heart, she knew reality weighed on her like this leaking roof, crushing her breath. The next morning, the rain stopped. Mara walked Amina to school early. The girl skipped ahead in her faded uniform, her patched-up backpack bouncing. Mara stood at the school gate, watching until her daughter read inside. She knew this school run by a church was really scraping by. Last year, a teacher went 6 months without pay before quitting to sell coconuts. At the last parents meeting, the principal had said, if the government doesn't send funds, we may have to close. Her grip tightened on her cloth bag. Inside was last night's wages, 23,000 shillings. Rent, food, medicine, utilities, and still, Amina's school fees were a distant dream. Back at the hotel, she cleaned mechanically, mopping, changing sheets, emptying trash. But James's words echoed in her mind, they're just labor. At lunch, the supervisor called her in. Mara next Router's payslip. He handed her a paper and a notice from the school. Her hands shook as she took them. The payslip read base salary, 25,000 deductions, floor shine penalty, 2,000 efficiency penalty, 1,500 total, 21,500. Her stomach dropped. More cuts. But the letter was worse. Amina's school fees *DEA or PA rent term fees adjusted to 92,000 shillings, includes books, uniform, activities. Due in 2 weeks. Late payment equals withdrawal. Asterisk. 92,000, her ROY pay was 300,000. She was 60,000 short. The room spun. The supervisor sighed. I know it's hard, but rules are rules. Maybe transfer her to public school cheaper. Public school leaking roofs, moldy books, teachers always on strike. She'd sent Amina here because she didn't want her to relive her own childhood. She folded the letter, pocketed it, and walked out without a word. That night, she came home and didn't light the lamp. Amina was already asleep, a pencil still in her hand. On the table was a drawing, a big house with glass windows, a garden, a roof that didn't leak. Scribbled underneath, when I grow up, I'll build mama a house. Mayare sank to her knees and finally let herself cry. She wasn't weak. She was a mother. She could be trampled into the mud, but not her daughter. Then, a soft knock. Mara, you there, grandmother? Enya's voice. Mara wiped her face and opened the door. Enya, the village elder, stood there with her walking stick and blue shawl. At 70, she still patrolled the slums at night, protecting single mothers. I heard you crying, Enya said, cupping Mara's face. Child, too many TRS make the heart salty. Mayare handed her the school notice. Enya put on her glasses, read it, and sighed. Fees went up again. 1 coffee at that. Hotel pays for a year of your girl's schooling. From her shawl, she pulled a small cloth bundle, dried herbs. Wa Ryer's root. Good for headaches. Sell it, 500 shillings per pack. Mayare shook her head. But you need this, I'm strong as a baobab. Enya laughed. We women were both the sick and the medicine. She sat Mara down. You know why I've lived this long? I don't wait for saviors. I grow herbs, teach girls to read, help mothers give birth. I live by my own hands. Mara looked down. But I only know how to mop floors. And what's wrong with that? Enya's voice turned sharp. Dirty floors, you clean. Dirty hearts, you clean those too. You're not a cleaner, you're a purifier. From the wall, she took down a red cloth belt, old, frayed. This was my war sash. When we fought the colonizers, women stood in battle too. Take it. It'll give you strength. Mayare held the sash. Rough, but remember, Enya said, anger is fire.
Burn your enemies with it, or CK your meals. Your choice.
That night, Mara didn't sleep.
By the kerosene lamp, she opened an old notebook from her teaching days and wrote on a blank page, I will Leah RN. She thought of the hotel manager reading an English newspaper liar. She hadn't even understood the headline. James gave orders in English, while she couldn't voice a complaint. No more. After hours of asking, she found it, Light of Hope Night School, downtown. Free adult literacy classes. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. But it was a 2-hour walk. She'd have to skip work, pay for transport. She dug out her last savings, 3,000 shillings, hidden in the wall. Rent money. Her hands shook. Spend it. She and Amina would sleep outside. Don't spend it. Amina would lose her education. But without Leah running, they'd never escape this cycle. She closed her eyes. He ring Enya, you don't wait for saviors. She put 2,000 shillings in Amina's bag for food. The rest a bus ticket. Wednesday night. Rain again. Mara told her supervisor family emergency. He frowned but let her go. She wore her cleanest clothes, tied Enya's red sash around her waist like a mare. Amina hugged her. Where's mama going? Shawar, Mara whispered, kissing her forehead. She stepped into the rain, heading downtown. Mud splashed her ankles, wind tangled her hair. But she walked steady, like an Eroshat Tawa RD light in the arcade. 2 hours later, she stood before an old church. A wooden sign read, Light of Hope Night School, for every unbroken soul. She pushed the door open. Inside, a dozen kerosene lamps glowed. A dozen faces turned to her. Middle-aged women. Are veterans. Street vendors. None were young. But their eyes alive. At the front, a white-haired man smiled. Welcome. I'm Professor Okoro. Tonight, we Leah RNA, B, C. Mara sat in the back, took out her notebook. She wrote her name M.A.R. a shaky, childlike letters. But she smiled. Because tonight, she wasn't Mara the cleaner. She was Mara the student. Mara the fighter. Mara, the mother who had begun to rise. The letter A is like a mountain, Professor Okoro said, drawing a big A on the black board with chalk. A is the beginning. The first stroke of every story. Mara sat in the back row of the classroom, the kerosene lamp casting a warm glow over her notebook. She traced the letters slowly, A. B. C. Her hand shook, the letters wobbled like a toddler's first steps. The room was quiet except for the scratch of chalk. A dozen students, mostly middle-aged women, a few war veterans, some street vendors, bent over their notebooks. Some couldn't even write their own names. Others hadn't held a pencil in decades. But their eyes all held the same look, hungry, desperate, like dry EARTH waiting for rain. On Mara's page, she had written her name M.A.L. as she read at those 4 letters. They looked like keys, ones that could unlock a door she'd never seen before. D is like the moon, the professor continued. E is a fence. F, a flag. Every letter had life. Every letter had meaning. Mara realized, this wasn't just writing. It was Leah running to see the world again. When class ended, no bell, just the professor checking his pocket watch. The students packed up. Some proudly showed off their ABCs. Others hid their notebooks. EMBA rast. Mara lingered. Professor Okoro stopped her. You write with focus. I haven't read in years, she admitted. How long? 3. Since my husband died. He nodded. Then today, you began again. He handed her a slip of paper. Next week, we Leah RN words. Bring 5 you want to know. Mara took it like it was gold. On her walk home, the rain had stopped. The night air was cutting through the slum's usual heat. She touched the notebook in her pocket. A strange feeling rose in her chest, not happiness, not relief, but hope. She hadn't felt that in so long. The next morning, she went to work as usual. While mopping, she remembered, D is like the moon. She glanced at the round light at the end of the hallway. Is that a D? She smiled. It was the first time in 3 years she'd read to daydream at work. At lunch, she hid in the staff room and opened her notebook. The professor's assignment, 5 words she wanted to Leah RN. She thought RD, then wrote a mother-daughter school clean dignity. Her pen froze at the last one. She'd RD dignity on the news. A reporter had said, Africa needs development, but more than that, it needs dignity. Back then, she didn't understand. Now, the word felt like a knife, slicing open a wall inside her. She dug out an old English dictionary one Grandma Enya had salvaged from a church dump. Dignity, and worth. Respect. The right to be treated like a human. Her throat tightened. How long since I lived with dignity? Bowing to James. Begging the landlord. Apologizing for existing. She'd been a shadow, not a person. I will Leah RN this word, she promised herself. By the next Wednesday, she brought Amina's homework to night class. Her daughter could already write simple English sentences. Mama, I'll teach you. Amina had said. Under the kerosene lamp, mother and daughter took turns, one teaching, one Leah running. Dignaty, Amina spelled. Means no one can look down on you. Mayra copied the word 10 times. Each stroke felt like carving it into her soul. Weeks later, Professor Okoro made an announcement: the African Women's Business Program is hosting a training in Nairobi. 5 days. I'm recommending some of you. The class erupted. Business us? I don't have money. Who'd listen to people like us? The professor raised his hand. Training is free. But transport, food, you cover that. Limited spots. Only for those ready to fight. Mayra's pulse raced. Business? I don't even know what that means. But she knew this, it was a chance. Maybe the only one. Problem bus fare, 10,000 shillings. Food and lodging, 8,000. Her entire savings, 5,000. That night, she dug through her things and found her husband's only keepsake, a silver ring he'd made himself, engraved with Umoja, unit in Swahili. She held it all night, unable to sleep. The next day, she walked into a pawnshop in Kibera. The Indian owner squinted at the ring. 3,000 shillings. Final offer. 5,000, Mara insisted. 4,000. Take it or leave it. She took it. Her heart as she handed over the ring, but when she traded that money for a bus ticket, she thought, worth it. The training was in a glass skyscraper in downtown Nairobi. Mara wore her best clothes and stepped inside like she was entering another universe. Most attendees were young women in suits, typing on laptops. They talked about markets, investors, branding, words Mara didn't know. Day 1, a speaker explained microfinance, tiny loans to help women start businesses. Food stalls. Crafts. Daycare res. Mara scribbled notes. Day 2, a session on sustainability. Use local resources. Make eco-friendly products. Then lightning struck. Cleaning supplies, the hotel's chemicals were imported, expensive, stank. But she knew Grandma Enya's herbs could degrease, disinfect, even leave a fresh scent. Day 3, group discussions. Mara forced herself to speak. I can make natural cleaner, lemongrass, tea tree oil, coconut oil. Call it Mama Clean. Safe. Cheap. Good for the EARTH. Someone laughed. Who'd buy homemade stuff? But a German environmentalist was intrigued. This fits, Green Africa. I can introduce you to stores. Mayra CRT pounded. By the end, she left with contacts, a business CARD, and an idea, START a creative, hands of the EARTH. Give women like me jobs. Give us dignity. On the bus back, she STA read out the window, gripping that CA road. She knew what waited ahead: mockery. Failure. Storms. But she also knew the seed was planted. She touched the red sash around her waist. Grandma Enya's voice echoed, you didn't go to Leah RN. You went to WAR. Mara smiled. This WAR, she would win. The day after returning to Kibera, Mara got to work. She didn't go looking for investors. She didn't write a business plan, she didn't even know what that was. She did one simple thing, she called her sisters. She gathered the women from night school. Who needed this most? Nana, 50, whose drunk husband left her raising 3 kids on trash-picking wages. Asha, 35, thrown out by her ex, working as a maid by day, sleeping under bridges by night. Lily, 28, a talented seamstress no one would hire because she had a baby that Mary brought them to Grandma Enya's hut. On the table, her Nairobi notes and a bottle of imported cleaner. Sisters, she said, I want to make something our own cleaning product, from our herbs.
Silence. Nana frowned. Cleaner. The stores are full of it. Who'd buy ours? Asha laughed bitterly. We don't even have bottles. Plastic bags. But Lily's eyes lit up. But our herbs work. I wash curtains with lemongrass, even bugs stay away. Mara nodded. Exactly. Grandma's recipes degrease, disinfect, no rsh smells. No chemicals, just local plants, lemongrass, tea tree oil, coconut oil, aloe. Bottles recycled glass. Labels recycled. Paper. We'll call it Mama Clean. Mama Clean. Lily grinned. Perfect. Like a mother's hands, safe and rm. Nana still doubted. A nice name won't sell it. Men won't even touch brooms. Why buy our water? Mara unscrewed the imported cleaner. Smell this. The chemical stench made them cough. This costs 2,000 shillings, Mara said. Burns your hands, chokes your lungs, poisons the water. Mama Clean natural. Safe. Cheap, 500 shillings a bottle. Asha bit her lip. But how do we sell it? Start small, Mara said. We make it. We deliver it. We talk to people. Profits split equally. Later, we hire more sisters. From the corner, Grandma Enya spoke. In my day, women fed families by weaving. Now, you'll feed yours by cleaning. Same hands. Same heart. She pulled a bundle of dried lemongrass from her Kubaway road. My our prize. Use it. Make your first bottle. And so, Hands of the EARTH Parative was born. 5 members. STA funds 4,000 shillings, MARA's ring money, 2,000 shillings, pulled by the women, 1 bag of herbs. They built a shed behind Enya's hut, their factory. Borrowed pots. Salvaged bottles. Labels stitched by Lily from scrap cloth. That night, they boiled for 6 hours. 10 bottles of Mama Clean. On each, Mara stuck a Swahili proverb, Safi Isekuzafisha tu, and I Heshima. Clean isn't just washing, it's dignity. Day 1 of sales. They went to shops, try our cleaner. Natural, gentle on hands. Shopkeepers waved them off, no time. They set up at the market, auntie, buy one cheap and good. Housewives shook heads, no-name products scams. Security chased them, slum women doing business get lost. By day 3, only 2 bottles sold to Nana's cousin, out of pity. Mayare sat in the shed, sta ring at the remaining 8. Heard he rt sank. A re. We stupid, Asha whispered. Mara didn't answer. She opened a bottle, inhaled the crisp scent of lemongrass, like rain on grass. No, she finally said. We just haven't found the light yet. Then a stranger walked in. A woman in plain clothes but sharp eyes, holding a camera. Your hands of the EARTH, she asked. Lisa Mboya, freelance journalist. I heard about Mama Clean. The women froze. Lisa picked up a bottle, studied the label. Natural ingredients, real herbs. Mara showed her the recipe. Lisa smiled. This is brilliant. The world's going green. Your story, single moms using traditional wisdom, perfect. She took photos, filmed them working, interviewed Grandma Enya. A week later, an article titled African Moms Green Revolution blew up on a German eco-site. Photos of Mara's teen brewing cleaner in their shed. The headline, no factory. No capital. But they have the EARTH and their dignity. It went viral. The next day, Lisa rushed back, a supermarket chain wants 100 bottles. The women hugged, crying. But problems followed, 5 women, handmade, max 20 bottles a day. 100 bottles 5 days. We need to grow. Mara said. They bought bigger pots, 50 bottles, recycled paper. 3 more sisters joined.
Production moved to an abandoned Wari house, 3,000 shillings rent, guaranteed by Nana's pension. On delivery day, the supermarket manager tested it.
Good scent. Strong cleaning. Next month, 500 bottles.
Mara stood at the Wari house door, watching her sister's work. Her chest swelled. This wasn't a dream.
It was real.
Then, the storm hit. Lisa ran in, panicked.
Mara, VCA refill.
Blue Sea Crown Hotels buyers are re-investigating you. Why the ERD hotels are re-switching to eco-cleaners. Their procurement manager wanted to try Mama Clean. It cheaper, works better.
But James C.A. Reuter found out. Mara's stomach dropped. What did he say? A cleaning lady show made product never. Probably fake. Toxic. He sent people to stores, whispering Mama Clean causes cancer. Mara clenched her fists. Him again. First the coin. Then the humiliation.
Now, killing her hope. How to the Asha raged.
We have test reports. But rumors spread faster, Lisa said. Sure enough, the supermarket called, sorry, Mama Clean is pulled until safety tests. The women despaired. Mara just smiled. Tests good. We'll do them, publicly. She hired an independent lab. Live-streamed the tests. Results, non-toxic, no carcinogens, 15% stronger than imports, 40% cheaper. Lisa posted the video. They said we were poison, here's the truth. The backlash was instant. Hashtag MamaCleanTruth trended. Comments flooded in, I'm buying. Support local women. Shame on the haters. The supermarket called back, we need 2,000 bottles. Now.
Mara stood in the Wari house, TRS falling as she held the order. She picked up a bottle, whispered, James, that coin you threw it grew into a tree. Wind swept through the Wari house, lifting the slogan on the wall, Grandma Inya's words, Safi Isekuzafisha too, and I Hashima.
Clean isn't just washing, it's dignity.
And today, that dignity bottle by bottle was flowing into every corner of the city. The Wari house of hands of the EARTH stayed lit all night. The bottling line hummed. Lily and the new girls stuck on labels, Nana and Asha brewed fresh batches, while Mara sat at a small corner desk, checking orders. Her notebook was crammed with numbers. Supermarket, 2,000 bottles, delivered, community center, 500, tomorrow, hospital, 1,000, pending, Blue Sea Crown Hotel. That last line had a bold question mark circled twice. Since passing safety
tests, Mama Clean had exploded. Their 5-woman operation now had 15 employees.
Mara used profits to rent a real workshop, buy a small filling machine, even hired Professor Okoro as an advisor. But she knew the real battle wasn't supermarkets or hospitals. It was the Blue Sea Crown Hotel. That night, Lisa brought news. The hotel's procurement manager was pressured to cut costs, boost eco ratings. Imported cleaners were too expensive. Local sourcing was the only option. They're bidding, Lisa said.
Mama Clean is shortlisted. But James C.A. Reuter has veto power. Mara gripped her pen. He'll block us. Not if the order's big enough to bypass him. Lisa hesitated. Mara, should you bid? Mara shook her head. No. He knows my name. The second he connects me to Mama Clean, we're dead. Then what? After a long silence, Mara wrote one word, anonymous.
They registered a new company, Green Life, under
Lily's name. All bids used this alias.
Mama Clean kept its branding, but no mention of hands of the EARTH or its founder. A week later, Green Life won the contract.
Blue Sea Crown Hotel would trial Mama Clean 800 bottles a month for 3 months.
The Wari house erupted.
Women hugged, danced, sang. Grandma Enya brought stew, grinning, look. The EARTH's hands finally reached the Golden House. But Mara didn't smile.
She knew this was just the start. In the hotel kitchen, the head chef sniffed the new cleaner.
Smells. Not like chemical poison. A server tested it. Cuts grease fast. Doesn't burn hands. The housekeeping supervisor nodded. half the price. The BOA RD will love this.
Word reached James C.A. Reuter's office. Mid-video call, his subordinate reported, new cleaner works well.
Staff love it. Saves 37%. James frowned. What brand? Mama Clean. Local. Mama Clean, he scoffed. Never he RD of it. Who approved this procurement? Did open bidding. You were in London. James's face keened.
He googled Mama Clean. Headlines flooded his screen, African moms beat big brands with herbs, from slum to shelf, no factory, just dignity. He clicked a video. A woman stood before a Wari house, speaking Swahili.
Subtitles read, "We don't dream. We do." James slammed his laptop shut. He knew her. That voice. That posture. That fire in her eyes. Marandu.
The cleaner he'd thrown a coin at.
Impossible. He hissed. An illiterate couldn't build a brand. This is fraud.
He issued orders, stop using Mama Clean.
Investigate Green Life.
Leaked to media, product origins uncale are safety concerns.
Next morning, a tabloid headline, Mama Clean toxic experts warn against use. The article quoted anonymous industry insiders, undisclosed ingredients. Potential chemicals.
Supermarkets pulled stock. The community center cancelled. The hospital called, we need a reliable brand. In the Wari house, the women stood shell-shocked. What now? Asha whispered.
Back to zero. Marasta read out the window at the stormy sky. She knew this was James's revenge.
Too rdly to fight fair, he'd used whispers and power to crush them. She remembered Grandma Inya's words, when a lion wants to eat a goat, it first calls the goat dirty. Turning, she said, this time, we don't hide.
She called Lisa. I'm holding a press conference. Now no venue, no media here. We'll live stream. 3 p.m. Mara stood in the Wari House Center.
A phone was propped on a tripod. Lily manned the camera, Nana checked the connection.
Behind them, the banner, Safi Isekuza Fisha 2, and I Hashima. Clean isn't just washing, it's dignity. The livestream began. Viewers jumped from 0 to 10. 100, 500. Mara took a breath. I'm Marandu.
3 years ago, I mopped floors at Blue Sea Crown Hotel. One day, a sea threw a coin into my bucket, then threw it in the trash.
He said, we don't take tips.
She paused, voice steady. Today, I'm not here for revenge. I'm here to prove a woman trampled into mud can still make cleaner than your imports with just her hands and herbs. She held up Mama Clean. This is made by hands of the EARTH.
Every ingredient is open. Every test is real. We don't hide. We don't lie.
She looked straight into the lens. Mr. James C.A. Reuter, if you think we're unworthy of your hotel, say it to our faces. But don't use lies to hurt mothers feeding their children by honest work.
The stream ended at 50,000 views. Hashtag Mama Clean Truth trended again. Comments exploded, stand with Mara. Investigate James's kickbacks from imports. We want truth. Then a bombshell. An independent lab reached out, we'll test Mama Clean for free, live-streamed. 3 days later, results dropped, Mama Clean, 100% safe.
Eco-grade A outcleans 90% of market products. The tabloid that spread lies exposed for taking hotel PR payments. The tide turned. Consumers launched hashtag Clean with Mama, people scrubbed floors with Mama Clean, posting photos in Solida Righty. Supermarkets restocked. Sold out in hours. The hospital doubled orders. And the most poetic justice, an email from Blue Sea Crown's BOA RD. Given Mama Clean's excellence and social impact, all Africa region hotels will adopt it immediately. Mara read it, TRS falling silently. She walked to the window, gazing at the hotel spire glowing in sunset gold. Softly, she said to James, you left the door cracked. But this time the wind blows in your face. The news of Mama Clean entering Blue Sea Crown Hotel spread like wildfire. Media called it a victory for African brands. The hashtag Clean with Mama trended for days.
Supermarkets restocked only to sell out instantly.
Even remote village shops hung signs, "We sell Mama Clean." Mara and her sisters worked non-stop. Orders poured in from across Tanzania, even Rwanda and Uganda reached out. They rented a bigger factory, hired 30 more women, all single moms or unemployed. On their first day, each received a red sash, a replica of Grandma Inya's wire belt, embroidered with "Your hands create value."
Mara was no longer the silent cleaner. She gave TV interviews, calmly telling her story, "I'm no hero.
I just refuse to let my daughter live under throne coins." Meanwhile, Amina faced her own turning point. One morning, as Mara walked her to school, Amina suddenly stopped. "Mama, can I skip class?" Mara froze.
Sick no, Amina sta read at her shoes. Teacher picked me for a speech contest. Topic, my mother. I'm SCA read. Mara knelt, holding her hands.
"Of what?" "Messing up people." Laughing slum kid. Mara looked into her eyes.
"Amina, why do I scrub floors every day for money?" "No."
She shook her head.
"So one day, you could stand in the light without bowing." She touched Amina's hair. "You're not a slum kid. You're a flower that grew from mud. Deep roots make the brightest blooms." Amina's eyes welled up. "I'll go."
3 days later, the National Youth Speech Contest was held in a grand hall.
Ministers, CS, and journalists filled the seats. Backstage, Amina wiped sweaty palms.
Her turn came. Lights blinded her as she stepped up. She took a shaky breath. "My mother is a cleaner." Silence. Every dawn, she scrubs floors until her fingers bleach white. 3 years ago, a hotel boss threw a coin into her bucket, then tossed it in the trash.
He thought it was charity. An insult. Her voice steadied. But my mother didn't cry.
She planted that coin's weight in her heart, and it grew.
She studied.
She built Mama Clean. Now, thousands of women work because of her.
She lifted her chin. Some say cleaning is lowly.
But isn't making dirty things clean the noblest work? Applause. Sta rude. My mother taught me, dignity isn't given. It's wrung out, drop by drop. She doesn't just clean floors, she scrubs away society's prejudice.
She held up a bottle of Mama Clean. This is her answer. A bottle of soap and dignity.
I stand here today not as someone's daughter, but because my mother was thrown coins and she used their weight to lift my future.
For 3 seconds, the hall was dead silent. Then thunderous applause.
The education minister stood. Cameras zoomed in. That night, the video Slum Girl's speech on dignity went viral. #MyMotherTheCleaner trended.
Comments flooded, "This is Africa's real future." Just as Mara thought the
storm had passed, it returned. One morning, she arrived at the factory to find 3 police cars.
Officers held documents. Mara do tax audit. You're accused of evasion. The factory is sealed.
Her vision blurred.
Who reported us? Anonymous. But records show undeclared income. We document every shilling. We pay every tax. Prove it. Everyone out.
As the sisters panicked, Nana grabbed Mara. No factory means no food. What now? Watching the seal slapped on doors, Mara's heart split. James's revenge had arrived. That night, Mara sat in her tin shack, head in hands. Amina rubbed her shoulders. Don't worry, Mama.
You have me. Mara laughed bitterly. We can't even afford tomorrow's meal. Then a knock.
Grandma Inya stood there, backed by a dozen women holding baskets, sacks, clay pots. Mara, Inya said, Kibera's women don't watch sisters sta Irv. She opened her basket, cornmeal, beans, eggs.
Salt. Our day's rations. Each gives 1 meal.
Others added, my pension, 10 shillings.
Basket sales, 20. My son's pocket money, 5.
Mara sta read at these humble, burning offerings, TRS falling. Inya pulled out a tribal drum, the unity drum.
She struck it once. Boom. Marandu insulted, belittled, silenced.
Kibera's women say, you're not alone.
Another strike. Boom. All sisters, donate 1 day's food. Word spread like wind. Women lined up with baskets.
Some gave a spoon of rice, others a potato, 5 shillings.
Kids smashed piggy banks, coins clinking into Ra's bucket.
By dawn, she had 300 plus microdonations, 320,000 shillings, $1,600. Not much, but enough to pay fines, resta RT the factory. Next morning, Ma urged into the tax office with donation records and lab reports.
Investigate us.
But no, this money came from slum mothers who skipped meals.
You're not shutting a factory. You're crushing 300 families' hope. The director reviewed the papers, then sighed. We'll recheck. The seals come off.
As they were torn down, the sisters hugged, weeping. Mayare stood at the factory door, watching the sunrise, and whispered to James, you have power.
Money. Hotels. But you'll never understand, when 300 hands lift one person even the EARTH trembles.
Outside Tangare High Court, the crowd swelled by the hour. By 6 a.m., Kibera's women had already gathered wrapped in their best kangas, homemade signs in hand.
Stand with Ma'are.
Cleaners deserve respect.
Mama Clean, our pride. Drums pounded.
Old War songs rose. News spread. Supporters poured in from Nairobi, Dar es Salaam. What began as a protest became a silent sea of defiance. Inside, Mara sat stiffly in her one formal dress hemmed overnight by Lily.
Amina clutched her hand. Mama, don't be SCA red, the girl whispered. Mara nodded.
Eyes locked ahead, where James C.A. Reuter flipped through files, crisp suit, icy expression. Like this was just another corporate dispute.
But Mara knew, this wasn't a lawsuit.
It was a trial for dignity. The judge's gavel cracked.
Case 742, Plaintiff Mara versus Defendant James C.A. Reuter in Blue Sea Crown Hotels. Charges, defamation, public humiliation, suppression of local enterprise. Plaintiff, your statement. Mara stood. No lawyer. Just her voice. Your Honor, I'm not here for money.
I'm here to prove even water on the floor can reflect a man's soul. The courtroom still. She began to 3 years ago, I mopped floors at his hotel.
Mr. C.A. Reuter threw a coin in my bucket, then threw it in the trash. He said, we don't take tips.
A pause. In that moment, I wasn't a cleaner.
I was his toy. Later, I built Mama Clean. He spread lies that we were toxic.
He pressured officials to shut my factory.
He thought a slum
woman would stay on her knees forever. Her voice stayed calm, but each word cut like glass, but he forgot those who kneel know best how to rise.
James's lawyer jumped up, hyperbole. That coin was a joke.
Business is competitive, no suppression. The judge eyed Mara evidence silently. Mara pulled out an old mop, the exact one she'd held that day.
Frayed strands. Faded wood.
Rust stains at the base. She placed it gently before the bench.
Here's my evidence. Gasped. The judge frowned. A mop. Yes. It witnessed everything.
That day's water showed my face and his hands. I used it to scrub floors and my shame. Today, I bring it because it's truer than any document. She turned to James. Mr. C.A. Reuter, you said I wasn't fit for your hotel.
Yet today, my product is in every room. My sisters work every floor.
My daughter stood on a national stage calling cleaners great.
The coin you tossed, it's now a tree.
And you, she held his gaze, you're still using power to fill the hollow inside you. The gallery erupted in claps. The gavel banged, but the judge's eyes shone wet. Then Lisa Mboya took the stand, playing damning footage of James sneering, slum women think they can brand hotel PR's hush money receipts to media tax officers admitting, orders from above to target hands of EARTH. The defense squirmed, private Rema Archaeus.
Not corporate policy.
The judge snapped, SC, your words are RE policy.
The trial lasted 3 days. Nationally televised.
Ratings beat soccer finals. Streets buzzed not about music or sports, but a cleaner who'd stood against power. Verdict day. The judge declared James must publicly apologize in major media. Hotel pays hands of EARTH 500k shillings damages. Hotel establishes local business fund favoring African SMEs. MARA gets hotel lobby space for Women's Entrepreneurship Expo. Outside, the crowd ROA red. Women danced. Drums thundered. Amina sobbed into MARA's chest. James stormed out, face gray. But not before glancing back at that mop still leaning by the stand, like a monument. Weeks later, MARA used the funds to expand the factory, launch a single moms training center. Professor Okoro taught literacy, bookkeeping, business. Even bigger, Tangara's government announced, local SME development initiative, priority for women-led eco-businesses. Mama Clean became a national brand, stocked in schools, hospitals, more hotels. Strangers now stopped MARA, you're her. I use your cleaner. Kids tugged her sleeve, Auntie, your girl's speech was fire. She'd smile, all of us did this. But the real victory, not the win. Not the money. It was making millions of women believe, I can too. One rainy night, Grandma Enya summoned her from a chest. She pulled a red cloak embroidered in gold, Uzalashaji wa Mama, mother's creation. This is for creators, given only thrice a century. Today, it's yours. Mara knelt as Enya draped it over her. Outside, the rain slowed. City lights glittered like far off stars. Mara looked up, seeing Amina on that stage, sisters in the factory, that mop standing silent in court. Softly, she said, I'm no creator. I just polished a mirror so all could see light lives even under dirt. The email from London HQ landed on James C.A. Reuter's desk like a snowflake, soft, silent, deadly. He sat in his corner office atop the Blue Sea Crown Hotel, overlooking Melindy's Golden Harbor. But his face was darker than storm clouds. Subject, disciplinary action. Riga writing James C.A. Reuter's mismanagement in Tangara branch. The words were crisp, clinical of following your misconduct in the Mama Clean incident, including discriminatory remarks and suppression of local enterprise. The BOA RD has decided you are recalled to London HQ with immediate demotion. Prior to transfer, you will complete 1 month of community service in Tangara to repair public image. Service location assigned by BOA RD, hands of the EARTH Environmental Company. James's hand trembled on the mouse. Hands of the EARTH MARA's company. He was being sent to work under the woman he'd tried to crush from sea to janitor. He slammed the phone, dialing London. This is absurd. I won't apprentice under some illiterate cleaner. The director's voice was ice. BOA RD's final decision. Refuse, and will face global lawsuits for workplace bullying and local business discrimination. Your choice. Click. James stood at the floor-to-ceiling window, watching gardeners below trim the lawn. His fists clenched. He remembered that mop in court, MARA's quiet, cutting gaze, the humiliation of being exposed on national TV. He'd lost to a slum woman. A week later, MARA received the official notice. James C.A. Reuter will serve 1 month at hands of the EARTH as a community worker, STA rooting as a junior cleaner. The office erupted. He's coming here. Make him scrub toilets. Force him to apologize on his knees. Nana pounded the table. MARA, it's fate. He threw coins, now he'll mop floors. But MARA stayed silent. Outside the window, women worked the new assembly line, bottling Mama Clean. Each label bore the words Safi Isekuza Fisha 2, Ni Heshima. Clean isn't just washing, it's dignity. She hadn't fought this RD just for revenge. Amina rushed in from school, eyes wide. Mama, will you make him mop like you did? Mara knelt, smoothing her daughter's hair. Amina, revenge is a black fire. Burns others, burns you. I don't want him kneeling. I want him seeing. Seeing what? That our hands build value. That his arrogance was always small. Day 1. James C.A. Reuter arrived at 7 a.m. Shah RP, dressed in the company's cheap blue uniform, sleeves stained from yesterday's herb haul. No tie. No polished shoes. A stranger in his own skin. Mara met him at the gate, her red sash tied at the waist. Mr. C.A. Reuter, she smiled.
Welcome to Hands of the EARTH. He gave a stiff nod. I know the drill. START at the bottom. She led him inside.
The factory fell silent, women stopping machines to stare at the man who'd once called them just labor.
Some whispered. Some smirked. None spoke. First task, wash lemongrass. Hand clean each stalk. Sun-dry for 3 hours, Mara instructed. James frowned.
Don't machines do this, we choose hands, she said simply.
Hands feed families.
He worked clumsily, handling herbs like dissecting corpses. At lunch, Mara served him the staff meal, cornmeal porridge.
And beans. He took one bite, grimaced. Tasteless. Our daily bread, she said. While you dined on steak. He pushed the bowl away. Afternoon, clean the women's restroom. We rotate shifts, Mara said. Today's yours. James froze. You can't, I'm a community worker, she cut in. Like Auntie Nana last week.
He stood outside the toilet, paralyzed. First time in his life scrubbing a women's bathroom.
Yellow stains. Puddled floors. The Shah RP tang of ammonia. On the ground, a brush, a bottle of Mama Clean. He crouched, hands shaking. First scrub, water splashed his trousers. He flinched. Second scrub, he pressed her rider, as if scouring his own shame down the drain. Mara watched from the doorway, silent. 3 hours ago, she'd knelt in a hotel hallway, wringing out a mop, her face reflected in dirty water. He'd been the coin thrower. Now, he was the toilet scrubber. The circle had closed. Days passed. James hauled herbs, stuck labels, even helped Nana brew cleaners. He fumbled. He messed up. The women corrected him, not cruelly, but firmly. His arrogance dissolved like suga or in tea. One evening, Mara found him sitting alone outside the Wari house, watching the sunset. Tired, she asked. He didn't look at her. I used to think management was about control. Control costs. Control staff. Control markets. And now a bitter laugh. Now I know I can't even control a lemongrass stalk. It grows crooked. Dry slow. But it smells sweeter than my cologne. Mara smiled. Because it comes from EARTH. From hands. From he-RT. Long silence. Then, BA rely audible. Mara, I'm sorry. For the coin. For calling you labor. I was wrong. She nodded. Apologies a rent for my forgiveness. There to remind you, every hand deserves respect. He finally met her eyes. You've won. No, Mara said. We didn't win. We just finally stood up. Final day. Mara walked James to the gate. He read at the hands of the EA sign, voice soft. I'll push HQ to stock Mama Clean in all African branches. Her smile was knowing. Not for me. For the next women like me. He stepped into the car. As it pulled away, Mara stood in the sunlight, her red sash fluttering. She didn't wave. Just stood, solid as a mountain. James closed his eyes. He rang again, that whisper from years ago, one day, you'll be the one on your knees. He'd thought it a curse. Now he knew it was prophecy. And redemption. After James left Tangara, no one knew he'd send London HQ a 20-page report. 3 months later, an official email landed in Mara's inbox, subject, Complete overhaul of Africa sustainability strategy. First line effective immediately. All Blue Sea Group hotels in Africa will exclusively stock Mama Clean products. Additionally, a local women's entrepreneurship fund will allocate $500,000 annually to support eco-friendly small businesses. Mara sat at her desk, motionless. Outside, the expanded hands of the EAF factory hummed. 30-plus women bottling, labeling, packing shipments for Rwanda, Ghana, Senegal. She'd once thought jobs and wages were victory enough. Now, she saw systemic change. News spread like wildfire. Media Declare read, a cleaner who rewrote corporate Africa. The government scrambled to respond. African Brand Revival Initiative launched 5-year tax breaks for women-led eco-businesses.
Low-interest loans for grassroots ventures. Hands of the EA Earth was no longer alone. Across Kibra, women formed co-ops recycling plastic into eco-bricks.
Weaving banana leaves into biodegradable tableware.
Teaching girls to code in Tin Shack digital classrooms.
MA-RA's Single Moms Training Center overflowed. 30 spots per batch, waitlist 3 months long.
Professor Okoro taught literacy.
Lily taught sewing. Nana taught waste sorting. MA-RA's class had one theme: rebuild your life. STA rooting from the floor. She always asked, what SCA res you most, being looked down on? My kid's going hungry.
Her reply never changed, good.
Thea R makes you run faster.
That rainy season, Tangara was hit by historic floods. Kibra's clogged drains overflowed, sewage soaking tin homes, ruining books, rotting bedposts. But this time, Mara didn't despair. She mobilized Hands of the EA Earthinto Clean Home campaign. Used factory-grade plastic sheets to patch 20 roofs. Disinfected flood zones with Mama Clean's herbal formula, preventing malaria. Hired engineers to design rainwater harvesters, diverting roof runoff into storage drums. Grandma Inya watched, leaning on her cane, shouting over the downpour. A century ago, colonizers called us savages because they'd never seen our wisdom. Today, Mara proves real civilization is cleaning the dirt others ignore.
When the rain stopped, sunlight glinted off repaired roofs. Kids splashed in clean puddles, laughing. Mara stood outside, watching Amina test rainwater pH levels, her dream now, environmental engineer. Mama, Amina grinned, I'll design sewers that never clog. Mara smiled. You fix pipes. I'll keep fixing floors. By then, Mama Clean had transcended product. It became symbol. National Museum displayed Mara's original mop, labeled, Where Dignity Began. Musicians wrote Mama Clean anthem, she bends not to kneel, but to hold the EARTH. School textbooks added a chapter, From Slum to Dignity. But what wrecked Mara? A letter from a rural schoolhouse. Childish scrawl, collective effort. Anti-Mara, we cleaned our classroom with Mama Clean. Teacher says clean floors grow SMART kids. We'll be like you, make the world sparkly. She pinned it on the factory wall, telling her team, we don't sell cleaner. We sell hope. EARZN brought the tribal Mother of the Soil ceremony, Kibra's highest honor, given once a generation to women who've shaped history. This year, elders unanimously chose Marandu, whose hands rebuilt dignity. The ritual began post-rain. Mara walked Ba Refut through mud, Grandma Inya's red cloak billowing. Women chanted ancient hymns, waving medicinal herbs. Elders placed dried lemongrass and a Mama Clean bottle on the altar. Our tradition and future, fused. When the silver soil mother bracelet clasped her wrist, Mara knelt, forehead to EARTH. Not for honor, but for every woman who'd ever scrubbed floors on her knees. After OARD, Enya clasped her hands, child, you've won. Mara shook her head. No. I just let the seeds survive the storm. She gazed at the horizon. City lights flickered like countless watching eyes. Somewhere, she knew, a million more women still wept in shadows, still dragged exhausted bodies. Tawa RD uncertain dawns. Her task now: make those seeds grow a forest. 5 years later. Malindi, Tanga Ra. 6 a.m. sunlight spilled across the marble floors of Blue Sea Crown Hotel's third-floor hallway. The air smelled faintly of lemongrass, the signature scent of Mama Clean's eco-friendly system. At the far end, a young woman in a blue uniform mopped with quiet focus. A bottle of Mama Clean sat in her bucket, its label BEA ring the Swahili proverb. Safi Esekuza Fisha tu, Ni Heshima. Clean isn't just washing, it's dignity. Her name was Amina Ndu. 19. The hotel's new housekeeping supervisor. Mara's daughter. 5 years ago, this hallway was where her mother had knelt, wringing out a mop. Today, her daughter stood here, spine straight. Amina finished mopping, straightened up, and pulled a folded paper from her pocket. Tanga Ra National University. Environmental Engineering. Full show leadership. She smiled, eyes glistening. She remembered her mother's words, Amina, you'll build bridges. Roads. Houses that don't leak. Today, she began. Just then, ding, the elevator opened. A tall white man stepped out.
No suit, just a worn jacket, toolbag slung over his shoulder. James C.A. Reuter. Demoted to sustainability consultant at London HQ, he now roamed Africa and Asia for green projects. Today, he'd returned for the fifth hands of the EARTHPA Reinership signing. He froze, seeing Amina. Uri Ra's daughter Amina nodded. Yes, sir. You're Mr. C.A. Reuter. Mama speaks of you often. James winced. Probably my worst moments.
No, Amina said firmly. She says you taught her dignity isn't given, it's wiped clean. James sta read at the floor. The marble shone, reflecting his face and hers. He remembered the coin he'd tossed here 5 years ago. Now, no coin. Just light. And scent. And reflections. Your mother is she well? Very. Amina beamed. Hands of the EARTH has 300 women now. She still teaches, says her work isn't done till no woman kneels to clean. James nodded, pulling a wooden plaque from his bag. Hansia read. 2 lines, here once stood a mop. It reflected he RTS. It cleaned the world. He nailed it to the hallway wall. For her. And for me. That afternoon, Tanga RA Convention Center hosted the African Women's Entrepreneurship Summit. Outside, a giant poster showed Ra's face. From cleaner to changemaker, the Mara Ndu story. On stage, Mara wore a simple African dress, her red sash still tied at the waist. More wrinkles, but eyes fiercer than ever. She didn't speak of success or money. Just 3 truths, the Coinsome call it humiliation. I call it kindling. He tossed it thinking trash. But seeds don't sprout. In light, they crack open into RK. Her daughter Amina once asked, Mama, do you hate him? I said no. Hate is heavy. I chose to remember the coin's weight, then use it to lift others. Dignity isn't looking down. It's standing tall inside when you're on your knees. It's crawling out of the trash and saying, I deserve better. She raised a Mama Clean bottle. This isn't just soap. It's 300 mothers' hands. 300 daughters' dreams. 300 women buried in mud telling the world, I am here. Silence. Then thunderous applause. Even James, seated in back, removed his hat in respect. After the summit, Mara returned to Kibera. Her tin shack was gone. In its place stood a 2-story house, community center below, home above. Sola are panels. Lemongrass by the door. Grandma Enya, now 90, sat sunning in a cane chair. Back she rasped. Yes, Mama. Mara knelt, clasping her GNA lead hands. Amina leaving tomorrow. Enya nodded. Good. Birds fly. But never forget where they fledged. Mara laughed. She won't. She says her runway was the floors Mama cleaned. Late that night, Mara sat at her desk, opening a decade-old diary. On the last page, she wrote June 15, 2010. Amina leaves for university tomorrow. I'll take her to the bus stop, like she once walked me to night school. She asked, Mama, any regrets? I said, none. Regrets are for those who never move. I only hope, one day, no woman is shamed for scrubbing floors. No daughter is too poor to dream. No coin is thrown like charity. I hope, light starts from the ground. She shut the diary, gazing out the window. City lights glittered like distant stars. Closer, the community center glowed. Another single mom's class in session. Softly, she whispered, Go, Amina. Mama stays mopping on. Wind fluttered the red sash on the wall. A flag. A bird. Flying Tawa RD Dawn.